Premier League primetime on tape. Jose, Cyrus, and Andre. And you know that Daveye don't play. In the field, they can talk about it all day. Look, and we moving up. You can try all you want, can't move like us. When it all comes down, they choosing us. And I do gotta say, we don't give a fuck. Premier League primetime, and it's only that. Speak only facts. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Can't hold me back. Premier League primetime, better yet, it's my time. You stay on the sideline. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Premier League primetime.
Hello and welcome back to Premier League Primetime. I'm here with a very good friend of mine, Mr. West Ham, Mr. Jack Nunn. How are you doing, my friend? And commiserations for not being able to secure Europa League. And it just shows how bad Man United are. That was rooting for Brighton.
Yeah, unfortunate result, but it was deserved in the end in terms of Brighton were on top the entire game. And unfortunate that we couldn't take our chances with Europa League, the spot on the plate. So, despite with United's loss. So, yeah.
I mean, it just shows how bad we are. Anyways, we're not talking about a club who's just had a horrible season. We're going to talk about a club who's just, again, with all due respect, a smaller club by name, but they've been utterly phenomenal these past 2 seasons. I have to say, West Ham. They were my team. They were my just overall club of the season last year. And I think all my co-hosts had said the same thing, even Rob when he was still here. And I'd probably have to give it to them again this year. Maybe Newcastle, who knows? But West Ham, utterly phenomenal. But let's first start off with a classic bit of keep or sell, stay or go. I'll start off with the man in goal, in the goalkeeping conundrum, Lucas Fabianski. Another solid season, but of course he is getting older. He's not getting any younger. What would you do with Lucas Fabianski? Would you keep him around, or would you say maybe sign Areola permanently? What would you do with the goalkeeping situation next year?
I would keep Lucas on for one more season. And, he's getting old, but he could be our backup with Alphonse coming in, 10 million for a permanent deal, absolute bargain for him, to be honest. And just backtracking a sec, you said West Ham was a small club. That is that is unfortunately not the case.
No.
We are absolutely massive. No. So I just like to
No, listen. All right, let's not take that out of context. I meant if you take West Ham and you put them in the same pool, in the likes of the Liverpool and the Manchester United and them, West Ham are a massive club with lots of history. Of course not. Trust me, bro. I'm like my head is not thick. I'm not thick. No. West Ham they are a massive club. They have great amount of history on them. They've had a phenomenal season. They've been a million times better than us. Honestly, I generally don't even know how he beat you at home at Old Trafford and away at the Olympic Stadium. Just us being lucky as per usual. But and there you have it, keeping Lucas Fabianski around. Next, we have Issa Diop. It's very clear that he's not the preferred center back, of course. And you brought in the likes of Kurt Zuma. You have the likes of Craig Dawson as well, who's played very well. The likes of Ogbonna. What would you do with Issa Diop?
I would probably get rid of him. He's such a defensive liability, and he's coming clutch on several occasions in terms of we have Zuma out, we have Ogbonna out. Ogbonna was out for most of the season, but yeah, he is very inconsistent, is how I'd put it. So I would probably only keep him around for one more season, but I would try to get rid of him in the summer window.
Fair enough. Next, we have Ryan Fredericks. Now, Ryan Fredericks, I'll also throw Masuaku and Ben Johnson all in the same sort of category. They all play similar positions, except, other than, one of them being incredibly injury prone, you have the likes of Ben Johnson and Ryan Fredericks, filling in at right back. They can fill in at left back. Masuaku, other than being injury prone, he's out there. as a left back, although I'd say he's better as a left wing back, bombing up and down the left-hand side. So looking at those three, what would you do with them?
Fredericks, I would try to get rid of or put on loan. I mean, he's getting old he's getting old and he's extremely injury prone, and he comes in occasionally as a sub, but he does not perform, unfortunately. So I'd probably try to sell him. He's done good service for our club though. Ben Johnson, youngster coming through the ranks, I would try to keep him in there. He has been he's really taken that fullback spot when Sufal got injured earlier in the season. So I would try to keep Ben Johnson in there. And I think he signed a new contract. Not too sure though. And then also Masuaku, probably get rid of him, as much as I honestly love the guy, but he's got extreme techers. But Moyes doesn't really like him. And I can see why. It's because he's not a defender. You can't trust that guy at the back. When he's trying to dribble, the entire team from the back, it's not what you want. So on the Moyes agenda, probably get rid of him.
Fair enough. Next, of course, the big money signing in the summer, Nikola Vlasic. He's struggled. He's definitely struggled. He's definitely not the main starter. People likened him to do what Jesse Lingard did last season, but just hasn't really done it. Would you give him another year? Would you say, let's try and move on?
I would try to give him another year. He has struggled during this season, but a lot of players struggle in their first seasons. Takes a while to acclimate to the Premier League. And he's had several moments in which you can see the talent. You can see what Moyes probably saw when he was signing him. So I would keep him around. And if he doesn't start performing by the beginning of next year, there's always the January window. So
fair enough. Andrei Yarmolenko, what would you do with him?
I would sell Yarmolenko. That is the plan in reality for Moyes. He's getting old. He's probably early 30s. But yeah, he has been a massive player this season. He's a bench warmer typically and has been most of the season, but when the times come, important times, he's really pounced on the opportunities. 2 late goal winners, even during the war in Ukraine. So emotional time for him, but I think it's time to go for Yarmo.
Fair enough. Manuel Lanzini, what would you do with him?
I would keep Lanzini. Lanzini has really picked up some good form despite him being injury prone in the past, and he's kind of more of a mature player now. He used to be kind of weak on the ball, and now he's kind of picked up some physicality and aggressiveness. So I would keep Lanzini in there. He's been one of our best performers this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's had a really good season. And last but not least, I think someone that it would be my dream. I think you already know who I'm going to say. It would be my dream not to pay $150 for him. Here's the thing. He's not signing no new contract, Declan Rice. He's not signing a new contract. He's 2 years left on his current existing contract now. And if you think about it, as time goes on, his value is going to drop. So thinking about that, of course, we all know how important Declan Rice is to West Ham. He is Mr. West Ham. He is the heart and soul of this club. Well, before the GOAT, Mark Noble left, obviously, because everyone knows Mark Noble is just the GOAT of West Ham. What would you do with Declan Rice if a club like Manchester United, which I would not be surprised if we offered 150 million for Declan Rice, would you take it and go and run with it, or would you say hands off Declan Rice?
I think that at this time, I would probably take it. I would hate to take an offer from United, but that is money. And as you said, his value will probably decrease, as he gets older. So he is really the heart and soul of this club at the moment. But you can see that he is easily the best player out there, and he's kind of frustrated by the other players around him. And you can see that every single game. And Man United have already expressed interest with him, with Eric Ten Hag coming in, him saying, oh, he's one of our top players on my list. So I would love to keep him for as long as possible, but with us having Europa Conference League next year, which is pretty shite.
The Europa League is not that much fair, to be honest with you.
I think the Europa League is much better, in my opinion. I didn't even know the Europa Conference League existed until this year. So,
well, didn't.
But I would probably I would take an offer, unfortunately, from Man United, but I want to see him progress in his career. Although I probably wouldn't be able to watch West Ham versus United games for the rest.
Fair enough. There you have it. Next, now looking at this summer, right? What and where should David Moyes prioritize in terms of areas on the pitch to strengthen? Any specific names coming to mind? Jesse Lingard, possibly. And any names that you would possibly bring in?
Yeah, I have some.
Free, Jesse is free.
Technically free, but with the wages he wants, it's a bit much.
No, I mean he could easily negotiate his wages down.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Let's assume that his wages are affordable. Let's say they weren't as high as they were.
I personally would not take Jesse, just because I think he had a great spell with us, incredible spell, but he I don't know. He's not going to do it again. I don't think. He's he's not too old, but
he's super young. It's Jesse Lingard. He's incredibly young. He's the come on, man. Come on, Jack. He's a promising youngster.
He is a promising youngster. I probably wouldn't take him. I'd probably try to invest in more youth. That's my take on it. That's what I think Moyes is really, really lacking in this season. We have so many good academy players that are really shining in the U23s, except Moyes doesn't really give them a chance at all. And we have to rely on older players to play 3 games a week. And that's just not sustainable. So areas in the pitch I would try to reinforce and, create some depth in, probably center backs to start with Diop hopefully gonna leave. Dawson being old despite being the GOAT, Ogbonna being injury prone.
But still a GOAT either way.
Exactly. So maybe 1 or 2 center backs. Full backs is an area that I would try to really invest in. Cresswell obviously been a servant to this club. Just really, he's been amazing. But he is getting up there, and I think that
you can take Collins if you want, or Brandon Williams.
Yeah, but Brandon Williams now. But I would try to get some fullbacks also with Soufal. He's not too technical, so left and right side. Preferably right though.
Again, Brandon Williams. If you want Wan-Bissaka, you can take him. As much as I love him, you can take him. You can take Wan-Bissaka.
I would take Wan-Bissaka, but in the midfield, if Declan Rice leaves, we definitely need some replacements. So
I think if there's any area you need to strengthen, it is striker. I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm building up. I think we should strengthen everywhere personally, but mainly let's think about this.
Midfielders, I think, are okay. I don't think you need too much strengthening there.
Yeah, it's mostly striker. Antonio, he's great, but he is not. He can't be the only striker in our club. we need at least one more.
That man has played everywhere. I mean, he started as a right, then as a right winger. Then I think he went back to right back, then central midfield. Then I was like, what, a right winger, and now he's just your striker. Like, this man has played everywhere for you all.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast, but I
When
think
against Maguire and Lindelof, it really just makes me shiver. It makes me quiver.
yeah, wouldn't want to go up against that guy. But I would probably, if I were to look at potential targets, who was I saying yesterday? Totally forgot. But Darwin Nunez from Benfica, he's a great target, despite him being very,
very expensive.
everyone's looking at him, and he's expensive. We tried to get him in the January window. Other people from Leeds, possibly. Rafinha, although he's a hot target right now. You got Barcelona and other clubs.
And United, of course, linked with him, but we're linked to everyone.
Exactly. You can't trust any transfer rumors.
Unless if it's for Fabrizio Romano.
Except for Fabrizio.
Fabrizio is,
but
he's always one to be trusted.
Yeah, but striker, that's the way that's what we need. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, Len. And just looking at David Moyes, right? What would you give him on a scale from 0 to 10 in terms of how well he's done this season? What would you give David Moyes? What would you score David Moyes' season out of 10?
I think most West Ham fans would say probably a 9 or a 10, but I would have to say, I think this is being harsh. I would say an 8. And
No,
that's
I agree with that.
That's a good rating. And I think he's done so much this season, getting us to the Europa League semifinals, one game away from the final.
Side. And Dika, I'd like that center back in my club next season.
And Dika, is that Frankfurt?
Yeah, he's the French center back who played for Frankfurt.
Yeah,
he's very good. I think he's phenomenal. I hope that's a player we sign next season. Although if he has a brain, he should stay at Frankfurt or just go anywhere else that won't ruin his career. But
yeah, I think that I give him an 8 personally, just because Moyes is, he's an amazing coach, but his tactical decisions sometimes are not the greatest in terms of his subs. He does not make subs, and if he does, they're going to be in the 80th to the 90th minute, which gives a player no opportunity. And it also means that players are going to be exhausted for the second half, when you could put on fresh legs. And I think that could have helped in many, many games, but it did not. And also him not giving youth a chance. I think that if he brought up some of our youngsters, increased the depth in the squad, we would have probably done better in the Premier League as well as the Europa League. But overall, Moyes has done an amazing job, and this club has come very far in the past few seasons.
Fair enough. And on to the last part of the show. When we're talking about standout players of the season, and we're going to take Declan Rice out of it because he's his player of the season. We all know that. Declan Rice aside, who, in your opinion, have been your players of the season?
First off, right under Declan Rice would be Jared Bowen. He has been absolutely.
Call this man up to the England squad, please. Call him up.
Gareth Southgate, that is an absolute crime. Jared Bowen has been stellar this season, 12 goals, and he's just an English wizard on the pitch. So I would say Bowen, as well as Dawson. Dawson has been incredible. He's a rock, and he also scores goals left and right. I'll do one more. I would say.
I mean, I'd say there's two you could go with. I mean, if you're thinking between Antonio and Fornals.
Oh my God. I feel so bad. Pablito. I would definitely go with Fornals.
Over Antonio. Wow.
I would over Antonio. Antonio's been great, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault that Moyes is playing him 90 minutes every game. Whereas Fornals sometimes gets a rest and he's not a striker hunting down balls. But I would definitely say Fornals. Fornals is, he's an absolute workhorse. And I would pop one more in there.
Who would you say?
I was gonna say Ben Rama, but he definitely has not been the greatest this season. So I would.
He's not say he's dropped off. He's dropped off, but that's not. I would say that's more due to Moyes rotating him in and out.
Yeah.
But no, he's had a good season as well. I mean, it's tough.
I would like to say him, but I probably wouldn't. I would pop another one in there who would be Lanzini. I would say Lanzini's really he's really grown into our midfield. And he used to just be strictly a 10, and now he's kind of dropping into more of an 8 role. So he's really given us more more depth in the midfield, in the back. So, yeah, I would say Lanzini.
Fair enough. Anything else to say before we end off this segment here?
I would say we are massive. Come on, you Irons.
And there you have it from Mr. Jack Nutt. Thank you for watching this. Wherever you're watching this in the world, smash a like on the video. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on West Ham this season? Are they as big of a club as Jack is making them out to be?
Yes, they are.
How impressive at West Ham this season? Who are your standout players of West Ham this season? Where do you think Moyes should strengthen in the summer window? Check out our channel, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out our other platforms on Instagram as well, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And wherever you're watching this in the world, please have a great day or evening.